last one, so just relax. If you didn't have any coffee, I think we have the raffle later, so I'll try to be short and straight to the point. So what I'll be talking about today is about in-country cloud. This is in a way my advocacy, but this is also our business. So the subject is benefits of in-country cloud hosting with DataOne VMware private cloud solutions. So a little bit, we are managed, so it's not self-service, it's a managed cloud. It's also can address hybrid requirement, meaning on-premise, off-premise. And we guarantee high availability both in countries and also outside the country. And the message today is that the migration to the cloud is irreversible. This is something that is certain, and maybe we can bet and come back and meet again in 5 years. And most likely 80% of workloads and betting will be in the cloud, 20% will be on-premise. So this is something that will happen whether you like it or not. I'd like to say a few things. I'd like to thank and congratulate CSA for this event. And I'd like to tell an anecdote when we started. So I'd like to congratulate and thank Chairman Ryan T. Because when we started with our cloud initiative 6 years ago in 2011, we were invited by the government to bid on a project and to provide cloud services in the country. And as usual, the main criteria was the price. And my first reaction and objection was, no, it cannot be the case. We're dealing with the government here, so there must be a framework, a security framework, a standard, some level of compliance. And nobody was aware of any standards. So I did some research and I found something about CSA on the internet. And I tried to patent something around CSA already back then in 2011. And I also looked at FedRAMP. I don't know if you have heard about FedRAMP for the US government. So CSA has come a long way in the Philippines, and now it seems that it's a reference point as a place where you can learn about best practices in terms of management and compliance. So what we'll be showing today is that early adopters will gain significant competitive advantage. Few words about DataOne, what we've been doing. So originally we were a data center provider, and we are independent from any telco or any major conglomerate in the country. And our focus is to manage the complexity of IT infrastructure. We have a Tier 3 data center in Quezon City and a secondary Tier 3 data center in Makati that is with telco. And for 15 years, we have always tried to be an innovator. We need to be an early adopter of new technology, a thought leader, and also a provider of technology as a service, what we call today cloud. So our vision for, say, 2020 is, as I said earlier, 80% of all workloads on the cloud. But the benefit of the cloud very often is people think it's about cost reduction, and this is not true. This is about speed. It's about cost alignment. When we say cost alignment, is to convert all your capex into your opex and to make sure that your opex are aligned with your revenues so that you make money at the end of the day. And it's also to facilitate digital transformation, because all businesses will become digital, whether you sell flowers, whether you're in logistics, whether you're in taxi, whether you sell tourism. So, again, we have been speaking a lot today about technology, about different vendors, but our focus is not about selling you a technology. It's about trying to help you deliver a business outcome. I think CEOs, CFOs, CIOs are not interested in the latest technology. They want an outcome. They want increased sales, more customers, and the bottom line at a certain cost with certain risk level. So you should not view IT as a cost center. It's still viewed very often as a cost center and a risky, complex necessity, but something that will help you deliver and achieve a competitive advantage. So we have looked at a lot of technologies today, and I think we have to admit that many of them are complex. I mean, we have to learn it, so it's complex, and there's always an element of risk. So whenever a business owner will decide to embark in a technology, they have to make assessments and assess what's the level of risk in adopting a given technology. What has been more and more prevalent today, I think everybody understands that, is nobody wants to spend their capital. So there's a complete and rapid migration from CapEx to a pay-per-use or OpEx model. So this is one of the major drivers of the cloud too. Improve efficiency, less resources, less real estate, less equipment, less electricity, and less expertise for IT, so that you can hire more people who are expert in your core business. Reduce time to market. This is something important. Very often, businesses who consider cloud versus in-house forget one very important thing, is that whenever you buy something, you need to assess risk, you need to have approvals, you need to have committees, you need to have biddings, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of management time, and the management time is the most expensive time in a company. Lower TCO and higher SLAs. This is something very important. TCO is not just the cost of the hardware and the data center. It's the total cost of managing an infrastructure. And very often there's a complete confusion here. People forget and don't realize that about the IaaS or infrastructure is only about 15% of your TCO. The remaining 85% is the management cost. So this is where you have to work hard, not just reduce the cost of your infrastructure, management cost. And as I said earlier, digital transformation for growth and profit. So this is the main objective, growth and profit, not just cost reduction. Cost reduction on infrastructure just will help you a little bit. So what we want to help you with is through your journey to the cloud, because this will happen. It will be a journey from an on-premise infrastructure to an infrastructure that will be mostly or partly on the cloud. And what we want to present to you is that aside from the hyperscale clouds outside the country, it makes a lot of sense to consider workloads in the country. And this is the reason why we have decided to work very closely with VMware to host mission-critical workloads. So our main business is to host mission-critical workloads, financial systems, large ERPs, banking systems, etc. And with VMware, we are able to migrate easily workloads without having to adjust or to change code or applications. So customers who are a bit concerned about the risk want to keep some of the workloads on-premise. We can address that with hybrid setup. Keep part of the workload on-premise and move certain workloads in a data center and consume as the need arises. In-country. In-country offers high availability, and we can also provide multi-site, but I'd like to highlight other reasons why you should consider an in-country cloud. First of all is support. In-country, you'll get a very high quality of support. There's no, there's a very good reason why the Philippines is a leader in BPO and KPO. There's also a good reason why large hyperscale cloud providers are moving their support in the Philippines, because the quality is here and the very cost competitive support is available. Second is engagement. We need to meet with you face to face to make sure that we can meet your requirements. Third is compliance. you need to comply with local regulation, data privacy, PSP, BIR, and others. Latency can play a role also. Then I'd like to highlight another reason, which is cost. And not just the cost per se, but also tax. I would like you to be reminded that there's a tax on software and services that is procured offshore. And this is not a small cost. And then also consider the cost of ingress and egress of data. So, in your journey to the cloud, we understand that you want to keep some workloads on-premise, and the first step is virtualization. The second stage is moving some workloads in a data center and consume as the need increases. And we also have, as I said earlier, second site in country to secure and guarantee high availability. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with VMware and virtualization. This is the first step. Second is move some workloads. Ensure you're dealing with tier 3 data centers. And I would like to highlight also the latest technologies and the benefit brought up by NSX and vSAN, because it allows us to reduce the amount of capex we put in our infrastructure and be more competitive and bring the security closer to the virtual machine. In the Philippines, so we have a data center in Eastwood, one in Makati, but we can also, using the network of vCloud Air partners, provide a VMware IaaS-powered infrastructure with sites either in Hong Kong or Singapore. So you can use the same technology and move workloads around, do disaster recovery, backup, using exactly the same tools and have the same look and feel. Latency and network is a big issue in the country. We peer with all the telcos, so we guarantee low latency and high availability. And so, as I said earlier, main focus is mission critical workloads, HA, virtualization, bringing the security closer to the VM. It is a managed cloud, so you don't need to hire your own engineers. And a central component of our approach is compliance. So you need to decide what you want to comply with. Is it CSA? Is it PCI DSS? Is it ISO? We will help you in that approach. And SLAs. I think I'll skip this one. So, some of the, what we talked about today was mostly compliance. So we spoke about all those standards. And the question is, how can technology help you comply with a security framework? Because the most important is when you engage or when you move to the cloud, the next question is, what am I trying to achieve? What am I trying to comply with in terms of governance framework? And there's a lot of control domain defined by either PCI DSS or CSA that talk about data security, encryption, virtualization. And using specifically NSX, we can build a security framework that meets and is customized to meet your own corporate requirements. So we can customize that. So a given VM can meet PCI DSS and another VM can be outside that scope. So I think this morning there was also a presentation by VMware about NSX. So NSX helps to embed the security close to the VM. You can create micro networks with your own firewall policies and customize. automate and comply with all the standards that we discussed earlier, PCI, HIPAA, FedRAMP, etc. So this is our story for today. So when considering your journey to the cloud, it's not just about infrastructure or hosting or data center or cost. It's about expertise. It's about having the right tools. It's about choosing the right compliance standard that suits your requirement, defining the price you're willing to pay for a given uptime target, reduce your TCO, understand your TCO, measure your TCO, make sure you can reduce it. And also, what was discussed earlier is the SLA. Make sure you have a granular SLA that defines all the tasks, what you're expecting, what you want, and how you define downtime or failure, or expectation of failure by the service provider. With this, I think my presentation is done, and the migration to the cloud is irreversible. Don't be late. Thank you very much.